Today we'll be getting into the Roman Reigns fight with another superstar, Charlotte Flair's suspension, and more. Don't forget to check out the new WWCC Shorts second channel. So let's start things off with Charlotte Flair's suspension. Charlotte's story was one of the very few bright spots from this week's Raw. The main event was Charlotte Flair vs. Asuka. They even had a segment earlier in the night where Charlotte, Asuka, and Rhea Ripley all exchanged a few words. So the whole story was planted there. We get to the match. It's a great match, but Rhea Ripley interferes towards the end, and Asuka was able to quickly roll up Charlotte Flair for the win. So everyone was expecting a disqualification for this match, since that seems to be Raw's specialty. But Charlotte actually got pinned. Charlotte wasn't actually hurt from the pin, but the pin came off an interference, and it was a quick roll-up sort of pin, so it wasn't the biggest deal. But it was a big deal to Charlotte Flair, especially in this new persona where she just can't handle defeat. Charlotte snaps on the referee and beats him down, while the other referees try to stop her to close out Raw. It was then revealed after Raw that Charlotte Flair was suspended indefinitely and fined $100,000. Of course, this is all storyline related. Charlotte isn't actually suspended by WWE and isn't getting fired. This is just a tactic that WWE uses from time to time. They recently did the same sort of thing a few months ago, where Braun Strowman was suspended indefinitely for putting his hands on Adam Pearce. But like one fan pointed out on Twitter, WWE's logic is kind of broken when it comes to this sort of thing, because Charlotte and Braun both got suspended indefinitely for their out-of-bound actions, yet Randy Orton lit Bray Wyatt on fire, and WWE didn't do a single thing to him. So yeah, it is a bit weird how storyline-related suspensions work in WWE. They sort of pick and choose when it happens, but there'll be some times where they will do something insane and nothing gets done to them. So you do have some inconsistencies there. But getting back to Charlotte, she's suspended now for her actions on Raw. Why the scripted suspension, and how long will she be out? Well, it looks like Charlotte was written off with a suspension in order to allow Rhea Ripley and Asuka to finish their feud without Charlotte interfering. That makes the most sense. With Charlotte being gone indefinitely, that opens things up for Rhea Ripley and Asuka to finish their feud off peacefully at Backlash without Charlotte seeking revenge on Rhea during a match. So it looks like they planted the early seeds for Charlotte vs. Rhea already. Charlotte attacks Rhea during the title match on Raw after WrestleMania. Rhea cost Charlotte the match the following week, and we're to assume that Charlotte is coming right back to Rhea when she returns. So, the next question is, how long will Charlotte be out? Well, due to the fact that this is a storyline suspension and they use the word indefinitely, it means that WWE can bring her back whenever they want. It could be next week, 2 weeks, 2 months, who knows? For sure, that decision will come down to WWE's direction for Rhea Ripley vs. Charlotte. It's safe to assume that the feud will start after Backlash, so Charlotte could be gone for just a few weeks. But the issue with these suspension storylines is, how do you bring the superstar back? Charlotte Flair just lashed out and caused massive destruction on Raw. It just doesn't make sense for Adam Pearce to bring her back the very next week after what we just saw. There has to be some sort of remorse from Charlotte, or some sort of loophole that she can expose in order to really rush her return. It doesn't really make much sense for Adam Pearce to bring her back so fast after implementing an indefinite suspension. Charlotte Flair reacted to the suspension and had this to say on Twitter. This whole thing sped past ridiculous, jumped over absurd, and landed right on stupid. The top 2 wrestlers in WWE having a classic match on the flagship show. And for what? To be ruined by a petulant child with Road Warriors cosplay shoulder pads? They found one other thing as well. Audacity. The audacity to find me. The audacity to physically remove me from my ring and remove me from a building with my name on the marquee. The fine, the suspension, Adam Pearce, all the same, a joke. So it doesn't look like remorse is even an option for Charlotte. She stands by what she did and thinks what they did to her was wrong. She also called Adam Pearce a joke, which makes you wonder if this could all advance the Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville storyline as well. There's a lot of superstars that are becoming frustrated with Adam Pearce, while Sonya Deville, on the other hand, seems to be the cool official that everyone gets along with. Charlotte definitely has pull and connection in WWE to come after Adam Pearce, so that's another thing to keep an eye on. It just seems like the list of WWE superstars that are frustrated with Adam Pearce is continuing to grow, so that does make things more interesting for Sonya's story. But look for Charlotte's suspension to last a few weeks, at the most, and for her to be Rhea's next big rival. Nikki Cross caused some confusion last week before Raw. Nikki took to Twitter Monday afternoon to post some pictures of her new ring gear, and ended the post off by saying WWE Raw tonight. Fans assumed that meant she would return on that episode of Raw with that new ring gear. Everyone took that as confirmation that she was finally back on Raw for the first time since the beginning of the year. But Raw went by and there was nothing from Nikki Cross at all on the show. This made fans wonder if her match was cancelled, if plans changed. Did they film something then end up cutting it? All of them above are possibilities. WWE was advertising a big first-time ever match between Randy Orton and Braun Strowman all weekend long, but when it came to Monday afternoon, they canceled that match and changed plans at the last second. So canceling things at the last second and changing things around with no time left is a normal thing that goes on for the Raw script. So maybe that's what happened here with Nikki Cross as well. She was part of the original plans, but things got changed around. It's quite obvious that they don't have anything at all for Nikki to do right now, but Nikki thankfully survived the recent locker room cleaning, so that's at least some good news there. Nikki Cross fans are just waiting for something to be done with Nikki, who has only made a handful of Raw appearances all year long. A lot of fans speculate that Nikki Cross could possibly play a role again in Alexa Bliss's new story, and that does seem to make some sense. Alexa Bliss made it clear that Lily doesn't like anyone on the Raw Women's division. Well, that obviously includes Nikki, and they have such a long history together. So seeing those two clash one more time to really kick off everything with Lily would be great. Working with Alexa Bliss again will elevate Nikki Cross and give her something important to do on Raw. So fans really believe that we'll see some more interactions from Alexa and Nikki in the near future, but we'll have to wait and see. Roman Reigns recently got into it with an old rival, King Corbin, on Twitter. King Corbin and Sheamus were tweeting about a bottom of bourbon. That's when Roman Reigns called Corbin out for drinking that, and it led to this interaction. Corbin had this to say, "Ouch, maybe Uncle Rock, the real head of the table, will send us some tequila to toughen us up." Roman replied, "If he's your uncle, then I must be your dad. Last interaction you get, use it wisely." So just a very interesting interaction there between Corbin and Roman Reigns. It's clear that Corbin doesn't view Roman as the head of the table in his family. Corbin still believes that The Rock is the head of the table. So it's a little reference to The Rock versus Roman Reigns, which is a WrestleMania match that's supposed to happen in the next few years. Could this leak into SmackDown as well for us to see Roman versus Corbin? We'll have to see. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.